All right, everybody, and welcome back to SAFC Fan TV. Sunderland have just defeated Plymouth Argyle 3-1 away at the home park ground. And that's an improved performance. I thought in the first half in particular, we came out a lot more energised, and that same lethargic side we've seen in recent weeks wasn't really there. A lot more energy with first, a lot of second balls. We had a lot of players available to pick the ball up in times when they weren't always there in other weeks. And we got forward, got our goals. Michael, what are your thoughts on the game?
The only negative, obviously, for me is we didn't keep another clean sheet, but that's me being hypercritical. Obviously, it was important to get the 3 points. First half, I thought in particular we were very, very good. And as we touched on in the live stream, I felt Jack Diamond, for me, was man of the match. When he was on the pitch, I felt he was just relentless, the way he was pressing Lincoln down the pressing Plymouth down the channels, the way that he was constantly running at their back line. They just couldn't handle him. And obviously now, Plymouth have conceded 79 goals in League One this season. And if you look at the way they've defended, obviously for the third one, they had to push forward, so you can maybe excuse that, and the second was a penalty. But if you look at the way the first one went in, that you can tell why they've conceded the amount of goals they have. Obviously, them going down to 10 men. I think it was a Poku getting the centre back getting sent off for Peterborough. Goodness me, I'm not on it today. For Plymouth, definitely did help things. But at the end of the day, we just needed to get a win at all costs. And that sealed our playoff place. And hopefully it'll enable us to beat Northampton and get a bit of momentum, start to turn it back in our favour.
Yeah, well, it's a psychological advantage now. If we can go and beat Northampton, and let's face it, with all due respect to Northampton, another beatable, another winnable
well, they're
side.
relegated.
So well, there you go. They're relegated. It speaks for itself. That could be then 2 wins on the bounce going into the playoffs. But Philly, today was just a strong improvement, I think, on recent weeks, and a very decent performance from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. Breath of fresh air. I did say on the live stream, I think, even through that winning streak, what we had, the performances were really poor. Whereas we came out first half and we just looked a completely different team, so fresh, full of energy. And like I said, whether that was because we brought players in who've not played as much, so I'd fresher legs. I don't know, but we looked really good. I did think, we started second half all right, but I do think Plymouth came out a better team second half. We're trying to push a bit more for us, and it went a little bit flat for us in the middle of the second half, I thought. And then, of course, they have the player sent off, and from then on, we slowly got back into it. And, well-deserved result for me, 3-1. I think that's fine. Score predictions correct for me again. Another 3-1 correct prediction. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I ended up predicting 1-1, changed it to 2-1, and the end it was 3-1, but I'm not bothered. We've got the result and all that matters. To touch on, in particular, strong performance, I think overall, everyone had a good game today. I couldn't think of a bad performance out of the bunch, really. But I think, Michael, you mentioned it there. I think we've got to mention it. Jack Diamond in that first half especially, but the entire kind of 60, 65 minutes he was on, it was absolutely excellent. A fantastic outlet. Oh, Michael, is that your dog?
By the way, the dogs clearly agree with you there.
Sorry, Michael. I thought it was Karen shouting me.
No comment. Yes. Anyway, but if we're moving swiftly on, yes, as you touched upon, Jack Diamond for me. For Jack Diamond, for me, even though he obviously got taken off, I think, was it with half an hour to go, and Chris Maguire came on. Jack Diamond for me was man of the match, personally. Like I said, the way his energy and his athleticism, you can tell it was there, and he had a bit of raw pace about him, and Plymouth just couldn't handle him every time. Like, it was Ryan Law, Plymouth's left back. Like, he kept on going at him time after time after time after time, and and more times than not was getting the better of him. Dispossessed him a couple of times, forced him into making mistakes, and hopefully these are players starting to play their way into Lee Johnson's thinking ahead of the playoffs. And the more competition we've got for those games, the better.
Yeah, I know you wanted in there, but I just wanted to reiterate what Michael was saying when he took the words out of my mouth. Every time he got the ball, he looked like a threat, and he was always available for an outlet. It was particularly on the right-hand side. But he kept getting the better of their left back, who didn't have a great game. You probably arguably at fault as well for the first goal that Stewart scored. But Diamond today, although he didn't have any notable goal contributions throughout the game, consistently there as an option, and did well every time he got on the ball. I've critiqued him for his end product at times, but I even thought he put a few decent deliveries in, created a few decent chances as well. Philly, you wanted in just a moment ago?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought Rod Stewart put himself about a bit as well, you know.
Good
So,
shout.
and you know, I'm not one to criticize White, but White has, you know, he has been off the boil, you know, recently. I know he's knocked a couple of goals in, but he's just not seemed in it. And maybe Stewart's the man who he did. I thought Stewart looked quite lively as well. I think he was worth a shout. Certainly agree with what he's saying about Jack Diamond. I thought he was, you know, he was superb. But back to you, Jack, in the studio.
In the studio, yes. Ross Stewart today, I mean, I think you're looking at two quite different forwards. Charlie White, I think it's quite clear he's a poacher. Don't get me wrong, he's had a great season, scored loads of goals, really, really important. You're never going to take it away from him. But Stewart was just something a bit different. I mean, he took his own goal today as well. A lot of people might think it's an easy standard routine finish, but it was a difficult angle. The keeper came out and he did well to score. But and this isn't me saying that Stewart's a better option than White or what have you, but I think I noticed, and it wasn't just Stewart, but in particular going forward, especially in the first half, we were pressing so much. I remember there was a point in the game where Plymouth were just passing it between themselves defensively, and within about 2 or 3 seconds of giving the ball away, and it was because that front four we had, the four front players,
relentless, wasn't it?
Pressing got at them, and that's the word, Michael. It was relentless. The second half, it maybe faded a little bit, but I think it's because Plymouth came into the game, and then when they got that place sent off, we regained it as well. But we were just dominant apart from that. It was that relentless pressing. It just gave us that advantage in the game. We were just absolutely brilliant today at pressing it and going forward. And I think as well, lads, I mean, there was a comment on the live chat when we were doing the watch along, and it resonated. It was a little bit. Someone said, "Do you think Lee Johnson's maybe actually listened to like some of his critiques as of late?" I think in particular bringing Chris Maguire on, who of course scored the penalty, and then we went on to score a third goal as well. I think he had some involvement in that. I can't quite remember exactly. But Chris Maguire, was great to see him come on, and we seem to approach the game a bit differently, I think, as well, didn't we?
Yeah, I definitely think that with Maguire, that's something, while I'm still very firmly behind Johnson, that's something I have criticised him for, that I felt that Maguire could be seeing a bit more minutes than he is. I do agree that Maguire shouldn't be starting. I've said that numerous times, but I do think Maguire is someone who could turn a game like that and has the quality coming off the bench to impact a game. And as tight as the playoffs are going to be very tight games, and Maguire's proved already, if you look at the goal he scored against Portsmouth 2 seasons ago, that the goal he scored against Pompey in the semi-final, that settled the tie. It settled 180 minutes. Yeah. He can be a big moment, big game player. Yes, obviously the moment today was a penalty, but it was the moment that got us back in front and the moment that was effectively the match winner. So Maguire, I'm quite glad that Maguire's got 30 minutes. I'm glad that Johnson didn't just wait until 10 minutes from the end to bring him on. It's good to see, and I think I don't know about you, I'd want to see Maguire maybe start against Northampton, just because that game was more or less see where we finish in the playoffs rather than are we going to finish the playoffs. As I said in this live stream, we've got it. We've secured the top 6 now. We can enter that game a bit less pressure now, and Northampton's already relegated, so which could work one or two ways. They've now got nothing to play for, so you never know. But it's good to see Maguire come back on, definitely.
I think the next game is similar to this one. I mean, now we've confirmed it's about momentum. It's about getting another win and another bit of form. And as well, giving minutes to the likes of players who haven't got them as much. And I mean, Stewart's one. I think he came in from an injury today. But he's another as well, Chris Maguire. He hasn't faced a lot of minutes as of late recently. So it would be good to see that these players get some more minutes, because if we want to use them in the playoffs, which I think we should definitely be looking to use Maguire somewhere in the playoffs, because he's already proven how great he is. Like you say, scoring the only goal between 2 legs against Portsmouth, sending us to Wembley. Use these players, get them minutes, because I'm getting the playoffs could be really useful. Feel like I see you wanting in once more.
Yeah, I think it's what you've mentioned about like our 4 attacking players there. I think Jones and Gooch deserve a mention in that as well, because they were, I mean, without a doubt, there was a lot of work put in by them, and we were good today, and even though, like I say, they went down to 10 men, we was, that performance was just such an improvement. I quickly also want to touch on the fact that Charlton are down to 8th now, and though they can still make the playoffs. For all we've got friends, Tyler Rowlandson and things like that, big Charlton fans and what have you.
I don't want them in the playoffs.
I couldn't face another. If it was to make the final, it was against Charlton again, and I just. But they're not there as yet. Michael.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, obviously, I've got the table. Obviously, I know you've got it in front of you probably, but the table in front of us, the good thing is we've guaranteed a playoff spot. We've guaranteed finishing. The lowest we're going to finish now is 5th, because Blackpool and Lincoln, of course, have a game in hand this coming midweek. So we'll know more by the time we do the Thursday Night Live what position we could potentially be in. I looked up the fixtures just quickly going at the last game. Obviously, Lincoln have got Charlton away in midweek, and then they host Wimbledon at the weekend, who are already safe. And then Blackpool, of course, host Doncaster, I believe, on Tuesday night, and then play already relegated Bristol Rovers. So even the very worst we're going to finish is 5th. And so it'll be interesting to see who we end up getting. Portsmouth, it depends. It depends who. If we did finish 3rd, who would you want in the playoffs? So it's going to be one of Portsmouth, Oxford, or Charlton, isn't it?
I think that's slightly less important than us being in good form ourselves. I think that's the most important thing. Phil, I really agree with what you're saying about Lyndon Gooch in particular. I thought Jones had a little bit of a quiet game, maybe. Out of the 3 behind Stewart, probably was the quietest of the 3. But I'm not going to take him out really because he still had a decent game. But I think Gooch in particular, for our first goal, it was very opportunistic the way he just hooked that ball up the line, saw the run of Stewart. Awful defending, mind. Yeah. Gooch faces a lot of criticism, but again, he did all right today, and he proves that he does have end product. He might not always perform great, but he can create and he can score. Anyway, lads, I think we're going to leave it there. Or I can see Michael's wanting once more.
So just very quickly, well, okay. Last point is when you're talking about the attacking players, they were good today. And if they're going to start playing themselves into form, Gooch got an assist last week against Accrington. He's got an assist again today. If these guys are going to play themselves into form, this is the right time to do it.
Well, exactly, going into the playoffs. But lads, we are going to leave it there. A great result, of course. We've now got 1 game remaining of the season. Our playoff spot is confirmed. That game for me is all about building momentum into those 2 vital semi-finals and hopefully the final as well. But for myself, Jack Dodds, from Wayfully and from Michael Bowers, thank you for tuning in to the review. Please leave a like if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed as well to do it. Hit 6,000 subscribers. Absolutely brilliant. It is free to subscribe. You won't miss anything we do future on the channel if you do that. But we'll leave it there. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.